Great.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webcast with Crunchfish in connection with the company's report for Q3 in 2022. In a few moments, I am already actually joined here by the company CEO, Joachim Samuelsson, to discuss the report and the company's current situation. So, my name is Joen Sundmark. I'm an analyst at Västra Hamnen Corporate Finance, and I will be your moderator for today. I highly encourage you to send in your questions using your chat functions as we go along, and I will then present the questions to the company. And if you want to write your questions in Swedish, we will try to translate them as best as we can, so feel free to do that as well. I also want to inform you that this webcast is being recorded and that the recording later can be accessed on Crunchfish homepage and on Västra Hamnen Corporate Finance YouTube channel. So without further ado, thank you once again, Joachim, for being here. It's always a pleasure to get an insight and read the report about the progress in this quarter. I thought we could sort of begin with a general question. What are the main points that investors should take with them following this report, in your opinion?
Yeah, I try every in the CEO word, sort of, that we always start our report to actually capture the essence. And this time the essence of this is that big deals are coming. 6 months ago we were talking about augmenting big business. We were really in some big discussions with the major bank of India that we have now sort of working very closely with, and on the gesture side we had a few really big companies, electronics company we're working with. And then 3 months ago in the Q2 we had a time to deliver that we really need now to deliver, and I think we've done that this quarter. So I think the main takeaway is that big deals are coming. I was very pleased with the gesture deal we had with Oppo. It's the largest one we've ever done. And how that affects our financial results. It was just a $500,000 order, the largest one to date still, but it had a pretty good impact on our numbers. But also then that we anticipate much bigger deals coming, certainly in the digital cash area, where we are, we are doing some really big stuff there, and there potentially will be very many deals, because we are just starting with ideally with the biggest bank they have in India, but things will follow. The last point, I guess, I had the Oppo deal. I guess I had all the deals that I hope to be coming on the digital cash side, but I really like us to, if we can, spend a little bit time on the 1.3 release that we put out, because it's I hope that secures in a way, or at least it will increase our chance of success tremendously, because it is a huge step forward, making our product much more versatile. So that is a main takeaway as well, and I hope to elaborate to that if you have questions on that, Johan, later.
Yeah, so great to hear. I think we can start sort of in the digital cash segment. And you mentioned that you've now fully integrated the Crunchfish digital cash platform with the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, which you also describe as a great milestone, of course. And the pilot will begin in December, right? Could you sort of like tell us a bit more about the details, how this project has progressed, and what you made throughout this quarter?
Yeah, let's just to correct you a little bit, that we haven't integrated with the Reserve Bank of India. We have integrated with the largest bank of India, which is HDFC Bank. It's one of the dominant bank. The involvement of RBI, the central bank, or the Reserve Bank of India, their involvement is that they have they track some projects. They put requirements on the project for them to track it. And they monitor very closely what the phase we are going into now, which is the pilot phase. They want to know what the interest is, because their interest is to make ecosystem innovations, not just for one bank. They very clearly told HDFC, there has to be another bank. If it's just you, then you can do it on your own. Our interest is for ecosystem innovations here, and for this pilot here, we need to have another bank. And that was actually thanks to HDFC, very quickly identified. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed from that bank. I have asked them. I'm not allowed to say that they don't want to out their name, but there is another bank. I can absolutely guarantee that. So an integration has happened, and just before their big holiday, Diwali, which is sort of like Christmas for the Indians, they were ready with the integration of our software. We did a little update that to the market, and right now the integration is actually sort of this week finished, but now what starts is an audit period where we'll do something called pen test, penetration testing. HDFC have taken in an independent company who will do sort of for a few weeks here security tests on the product, and in parallel they're also recruiting merchants and also users. So we're talking thousands that will do that test that will start here in mid December. Interestingly, is that's one of the things that the Reserve Bank of India came with, is they said, because the cohort for the Reserve Bank of India is called retail payments, and they asked HDFC, can you innovate in the area of retail payments? Retail payments is then you pay to a merchant, but even if it was called that, offline retail payments is what it goes under in India. They did ask, well, can't we do this also P2P, peer-to-peer, or person-to-person? And that is something we are working on. We will continue working on in order to enable that as well. And that will be another drop here. This pilot period will expand actually as of end of January to include as well person-to-person payments. And it's real money. So it all starts really here. I think it's quite exciting. I know our CPO Magnus Lagersson. He said that, well, after this pen test, then for sure this is for real, because then we've gone through security tests. We're going to do transactions with real money between banks as well, and then end of January we're letting as well P2P payments be done, and that this test will go on in sort of Q1, and then there will be an evaluation sum up period for RBI for a month. And then hopefully that's positive, and then we'll get some sort of rubber stamp on endorsement from RBI that this is a good solution. And it's up to them then what they want to do, if they want to push it out, or if we have to go bank by bank and sell it in. But something which is happening because of the announcement that came from, because obviously we can put out an announcement, but I don't think that is seen very, we don't have that spread in India for our press releases. But RBI press released this as well. They did that somewhere in, I think it was in September in Q3, early Q3. Late Q3. They came with the press release of this project, and that has been seen by lots of people because RBI has a lot of followers. So we are getting banks, we're getting other fintech platforms. We're getting a lot of interest right now, and payment services who says, how can we get involved? So we are behind the scenes are working with many other things as well. We don't want to disturb this sort of pilot here because it's going on here between HDFC, another bank, and it's very sort of we really don't want to mess with that, but we can still do other things, with other fintech platforms, other say payment services. So we are. So it's we're quite excited actually. Big deals are coming.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. Hopefully the progress continues. And you've also recently launched the new Digital Cash 1.3 version, which also seemed to enable a lot of new function towards the e-wallet solution. Could you sort of elaborate a bit more on what this improvement means for Crunchfish and how it can be further implemented?
Yeah, no, I think 1.3 is huge. We're using the same sort of what the payer has on its phone, this secure environment where you can make payments from. It's the same, but the difference is that instead of sending a payment message in proximity to someone who are near to you, face-to-face with a merchant that they can verify completely offline. You don't need any connectivity whatsoever. And then later on, either party goes online to initiate a settlement where you move the money. That's what we have. That was 1.2, and that's right now what is being implemented. But 1.3, from the same secure environment that is implemented within a payment application, we could also send a secure message, which is cryptographically signed in a very similar way as we send it sort of in proximity, but we send it over telecom, the telecom network, because we're very spoiled here in Sweden. You know, we live in Ericsson land, and we don't really think that you can be out, you don't have data. But I think in a lot of emerging markets, data it can actually be expensive sometimes, but it can also be simply not there. I think you can notice this in Sweden. If you are at a big event, a lot of people at the event, you can't get data access because there is only, let's say, a limited number of channels. But you can make a call, you can send an SMS, and this is exactly what is happening here. That we are packaging our payment into a single SMS that is being sent from the phone up to the back end. And that step replaces the online login that you do. When you go into Swish, you know, there is some handshaking between your app and the Swish backend. Instead of that happening, because you don't have access, we simply connect to the same backend using an SMS, and it's a signed, cryptographically signed, so you can trust that in the backend. It's actually coming from you as the payer. And then we start the same payment process as you would have done if you had online access. But that means a lot of things. Well, it means that, well, we could pay to anyone in the market. Right now, we can only pay with digital cash to the merchants who have been onboarded beforehand. All of a sudden, in India, well, we can pay to all the sort of receivers who are onboarded on the same wallet, but also because they enforce, this is also thanks to RBI, they are enforcing interoperability in India. Everybody has to understand the say UPI address, and we can understand that as well. So all of a sudden we go from paying only to a few merchants to be able, that has been onboarded, to pay to everybody. That's huge. If we look at the merchant side, this trial we're going to do with HDFC and another bank, it's going to be in areas, that's an RBI request, who don't have good internet connectivity. And a lot of people there, they don't have smartphones. They just have feature phones. You know, remember those old Nokia phones that you played Snake on? That's the feature phone. We can't put our verifier on that, but they can receive certainly a confirmation from the backend that payment has been received. And that's very common in India, that, well, in areas, the shop owner, he doesn't have a smartphone, but he has a feature phone. Or it could be a shop owner who has a smartphone, but he has it. And when he leaves the shop, no one has a smartphone. So they leave a cheap feature phone. And we can pay to all those places. We can pay to establishments who have sound boxes. It's a little bit of a voice device that gets a signal from the back end that money has been received, and it talks to the shop owner saying 50 rupees received. Now we can pay to all those circumstances, but we can pay remotely. 1.2, the version we have, is only in proximity. All of a sudden you can pay, I can pay to you, Joen, even if I have no connectivity, I can sort of make a Swish payment, to you, even if I'm offline. And I can do bill payments or pay sort of to any commercial establishment. This also allows higher amounts, which is a cool thing. They have some sort of framework in India that for SMS payments allows 5,000 rupees, which is about 800 Swedish krona. The proximity payment is for 200 rupees, according to the current regulatory framework for offline payments. That's 30 krona. Still, over 50% of their UPI payments are less than 30, so it's still useful. But you can just imagine a payment service here in Sweden. If we came out with, well, we have a new service. You can buy ice cream and stamps under 30, but nothing else. Now we're really opening up that this will support sort of all sort of payments. So the 1.3 extension, which is a very natural extension for us, it will take us, weeks to implement. Is I think it's great that we put that out. It will. Yeah, hopefully secure the success. And I think it will be highly interesting for RBI, who is looking for P2P payments. Now we're giving them P2P payments even remotely. I don't think they anticipate this. So I think they will come down really nicely. I've seen some, we have one, we're good friends with a financial influencer in India, and he put this out. He echoed our press release that came out on Friday last week, and he echoed it on Sunday. And I've seen some comments, both from HDFC, but also from others in India. Just talks about humongous uptake if this goes to production level, and that's why we're taking it. So this looks extremely promising. So 1.3 is makes our product so much more versatile and implementable. So I think it will be it's a great upgrade.
Yeah, that's very great to hear, especially since it actually goes beyond the smartphones in a market looking at India, for instance, with feature phones.
We can pay to feature phones, and we can pay remotely, and we higher amounts. And if you think of it, if you have this asset of ours on your phone, you don't have to worry if you're online or not. You can always pay, and you don't have to find a merchant who happens to have downloaded our stuff. You can pay anywhere, because everybody in India, at least, needs to be compliant with the UPI type of addressing scheme. So this is fantastic.
Yes, and sort of what you mentioned, it also brings us into UPI, which obviously has been a tremendous success in India and meant a lot for the Indian payment system. Recently, the National Payment Corporation, NPCI, also launched this new version of UPI, the UPI Lite. What does the Lite version mean to the market, and how can Crunchfish benefit from this new solution with Lite?
Yeah, no, this was also launched quite recently. It's still in beta, so it's not, and it's only the NPCI's own BIM app that sort of have it. But it was announced at the FinTech Festival in September in India. And what it does is that it allows you to reserve an amount from the paying bank. Because really what they want to do, the volumes are so great now. They are looking at, I think October had more than 7 billion transactions. That's just, I don't know. Swish has been around for 10 years. I don't know if Swish has done 7 billion from start 2012. But they do it in a month. I think they may have done a little bit more now, but 7 billion transaction in 1 month is just humongous. And they're shooting for 1 billion transaction a day. That's what the Indians are shooting for, meaning 30 billion transaction a month. So just imagine what that means for banking infrastructure that has to be built out all the time to cope with the tremendous volume that the UPI system is handling. So what they did with UPI Lite was to allow that you sort of take out some money and you place it in a you take out some money and you place it with basically NPCI. So the NPCI holds the money in escrow for the bank and for you. So when you do your transaction, you don't have to go to the remitting bank, the paying bank, to ask if money is there, because you have already sort of put it at the NPCI switch, really. This helps a lot, because sometimes the timeouts that happens for UPI is due to that there is not enough time for the remitting bank to respond. So what can be offline in this situation is the remitting bank, the payer's bank. They don't have to be online. You don't have to get connection, because you can switch it already. But and what I can't help noticing that it's extremely similar to what we launched a year ago. We talked about digital cash online. So you reserve some money online. You have online connectivity to access that, and then you can confirm to the payee that the debit is done, and you will get your money, and then you settle as the third step. This is exactly what they do, and this patent hasn't gone through yet on our side, but what we applied for a patent in November, sort of, or late last year, I think it was just November, December. It's extremely similar, and I explained that. Look for yourself how similar to digital cash online this UPI Lite is, and it's an example of the approach we are taking in the market, that there is an underlying payment service, in this case UPI, and you augment it. You are improving it by adding features that it doesn't have. What they need in UPI is sort of help of the overwhelming volume. They need help with the throughput, so you don't have to basically bug the paying bank, and that's what they've done. But this is exactly the approach that we have taken to payment services in the world, that Crunchfish is always about augmenting, making an underlying payment service better. We're not a standalone payment service, but we make them better, and we do it with digital cash offline. This can work in full offline and or over the telecom, as we now are coming 1.3, or it could be this digital cash online, as we have been talking about, very similar to UPI Lite. And I think it's a testimony to our approach. The main difference with UPI Lite and what we have is that you need to be online for UPI Lite to work. This is what they have. You absolutely have to be online. They are talking about that they're going to do offline as well, and it's going to be interesting to see when they're going to do that, because then they're going to hop even closer to our IP, because we came from the offline world, that you don't have connectivity, but they say they will, but right now it's only online. So and they hope for a great success in that. But I think this is they're coming into our territory, playing our game of augmenting payments, and I think it's for sure it's interesting.
Great to hear. And I see that we've gotten a question sort of related to that topic from the audience. Sure. Who's asking, can 1.3 really be built in such a short time?
Yes. I think our guys are probably talking about maybe they've already started, by the way, and it might be only a single sprint to come out with a sort of minimal viable first product, not on iOS, as India is sort of so much just Android. So we'll have a drop on Android, and a sprint is 2 weeks, because we have all the infrastructure. We are just sort of, instead of packaging a signed message to send in proximity to a receiver, we are using exactly the same infrastructure we have, and we are just packaging the information in a slightly different way. We don't have to send as much information because we send to the backend, and there is an SMS communication. So there needs an SMS gateway in the app and an SMS gateway in the backend. But these are not rocket science. A lot of payment services use SMS gateways because they have these one-time passwords, passphrases. You have to fill in a number to confirm. So they're using that sort of channel anyway, and this would use that SMS channel. So it's highly exciting. I think we're looking at worst case, I guess, 2 weeks. Those are 2 sprints, meaning 4 weeks. So, but we hope to announce this very, very soon. Not just that we are planning to do it, but also that it's now up on our developer portal for our partners to implement. So it's cool.
Great to hear. And during this quarter, we also received a memo in August regarding Crunchfish and Sirius joining forces. They're to offer banks and payment services providers an integration between the technology of Crunchfish and the Sirius payment solution. Could you sort of tell us a bit more on how this collaboration have gone and how the project has developed since then?
Yeah, no, Sirius Tech is a fintech platform provider, and they provide that middle layer between our technology and the core banking system. We're very happy with the Sirius, extremely competent sort of startup team. they came originally from the WeBank, who do in China, who do sort of huge volumes. So they are very competent on building a fast middle layer here. And this was the first integration we did with them, and that's been completed. We are talking about now collaborating on a couple of deals. They are strong, particularly in Thailand. They have very good sort of links into Thailand. And we will go side by side into such deals. And later on, we may change this partnership into a reseller agreement that they will become a reseller of our stuff into, say, banking partners. And it was important for us because this was the first integration we did. We learned a lot from it, and we used a lot of our experience in this integration we did now with HDFC. And this sort of experience we have now makes it quite easy to us to expand to even more now fintech platforms, just like Sirius, just like the one that HDFC is working with us, and that is sort of what's happening. Sirius Tech, after the implementation was ready, they got involved with a quite a big project, and they took a little bit of a pause from working with our stuff. So it hasn't progressed that much, but we have a very friendly and good relationship with them. We have a lot of respect for that team. And one thing that could happen is that because they have everything in place, just like it's easy for us to do 1.3, maybe Sirius would be a great first contender to just very quickly put 1.3 in place, so we can actually showcase it just like they were first with 1.0 at that time. Maybe they should be first with 1.3 as well. But we have others as well. But there is a dialogue ongoing with Sirius Tech. They haven't been able to drive things in the market yet, but it's we haven't been bugging them either because we've been fully occupied to deliver on the project with HDFC.
Perfect. So moving on to gesture control, we also get some great news about the new contract with Oppo Telecommunications, obviously. Could you elaborate on who Oppo is and how your partnership is set to benefit both parties?
Yeah, Oppo for us is special. It was actually already in 2013 we signed them up as a customer. So they've been a customer ever since 2013 on the gesture side. So happy about Oppo, and they now did an upfront commitment here for 2 years using our software for camera applications. You can see that on it could be on tablets or on mobile phones, gesture control of camera applications. Oppo is one of the largest mobile manufacturers in the world. I think they are probably top 5 in the world. So maybe it's not a brand we see that much here in Sweden, but it's huge in India and it's huge in China, certainly. But probably in terms of volume, it's top 5 in the world. So this is a huge electronics manufacturer that been with us for a long time, and now sort of committed for another 2 years with this sort of deal that we signed recently.
And of course, it's interesting to see that EBITDA coming positive due to this upfront payment from Oppo. Do you think we could expect similar revenue streams from this segment going forward?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think the deals we do in gesture are of 2 types. Either it's a pretty big upfront, like the one in Oppo, and then there are they have all they can eat, sort of, and they have to add functionality if we're going to make more money out of it, really. Or alternatively, there is a small upfront, and that's what we had with actually Lenovo that we signed in, was it in Q2, I think? And then we had Ximmerse, also, I think instead of 500,000, I guess we got something around 50,000 or something. But they have a rather high royalty instead. So if we look at the revenue potential from, say, just these 2 deals that we already announced, they are worth as much as the Oppo deal, but they will come when they start manufacturing their devices with our units. And I think Ximmerse are sort of ready for, I don't know if they're ready for I heard from a board meeting yesterday from Joachim Sundmark that they might already be ready here in December, XMRs, but then rollout will be, most production will probably be in 2023, and the similar thing with Lenovo. And then there are other deals. We have a handful of other sort of humongous electronics companies we are talking to that are interested as well. And if there is an upfront deal structured that way, that Oppo is, then yes, there will be probably a reasonably high upfront to be seen, and we can recognize that. Or alternatively, there is a smaller upfront, and then we make money sort of as royalty as they go along for how many units they manufactured. But I think the gesture area is developing really nicely. We don't need that much. We're not many people in the team really to actually become even cash flow positive from that area. But as you said, I was very positively surprised to see how our numbers could have a completely other shape, just thanks to mainly an order of $500,000. I can just imagine what that would mean if we were to start signing up the digital cash deals. That will make Crunchfish really quite a nice profitable company.
Great to hear. And you've also launched some new updates on the XR skeleton products. How have these products been received so far?
Very well. The XR Skeleton 1.0 that was announced, we have shipped that to our sort of Lenovo XMRs, and it's a very complicated product because it uses stereo camera or sort of two cameras simultaneously. So you have two camera feeds, and that's good because you get a very wide field of view, and you can see both hands. So AR application with two cameras, or VR for that matters as well, you could do interaction with two hands, two cameras. Very few people have cracked that in the world. We are one of the ones who really could deliver in that area. So 1.0 really strong. We released a 1.1 upgrade where we have updated the detector that detects what kind of pose or sort of what are you doing here in this skeleton model. And then 2.0 that we recently let out is it's sort of a simpler product because it has a single camera, but it can work with two hands. So the neural net model can analyze and work with two hands, but with a single camera, having a wide field of view also, just simply of the camera. And there are applications in the market where, for cost reasons, they're interested only to have a single camera. Don't have two cameras, and also in the automotive, I think, sector, there are applications there's simply a single camera that is put out. But I think our team, very small team, extremely competent, doing fantastic stuff. Very happy with the technical progress that we're shown in this area. I think, we are really rocking both in digital cash and in gesture. It's really quite fun to be CEO of such a competent team.
For sure, you've made some great progress within both segments during this quarter, and sort of as you begin with, big deals are coming. That's the title of the report. This deal with Oppo is really showcasing this product, this process. And when do you think we can expect revenue from the digital cash segment as well?
Yeah, we are in contract discussions with HDFC. That has started, and that contract will be signed fairly soon. Whether that will be structured around an upfront and then pay as you go, because it will have a fixed component most likely, and then there will be revenue after that, or if it will be that no revenue will actually come until say the full production rollout happens after this pilot. We don't really know yet, but I think there is on the horizon. That's why I think we want to say that big deals are coming. This is one, but there are so many other deals, because that's just, it happens to be the largest bank, which we're very happy to start with, but there are so many other banks on so many other payment services, so many other markets in just India. So if this starts to take off, I think we're looking at a very, very healthy deal flow. I'm particularly pleased also, you know, when you sell products, you have to have a product first, and then what we're doing now, we have to prove ourselves. We are very much into it ourselves, working very closely directly with in the situation, but the partners will be important, and some of these companies we are talking to now, who are already with their fintech platform in multiple countries, they have multiple banking relations already and multiple payment service relations already. They're keen, and that will make that we can scale quite quickly, because we'll integrate with them, and then they take care of the integration with the banking side, which many of them have already done. So it's they just add another service here, put our stuff on their wallet front end, and then they're ready. So that will create a lot of scale. So, but when it will happen, well, it is sort of happening now, but it's just hard to say when. Revenue is starting to tickle in, but we're not far from it, and the signs are it's looking good. It's looking good. Big deals are coming.
Great to hear. So going back to digital cash, and a question from the audience: is there any chance being involved in the CBDC pilot through the HDFC?
Yeah, it's a good question. No, it was announced. I think yesterday, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, has announced collaboration with 5 banks for retail CBDC. It is the major banks of India, including HDFC. It's just been announced. We are, I think we have one project here involving both RBI and HDFC for offline payments. I think that they will have a first go at retail CBDC for online payments. That's the safest way they will start. But the fact that we all already have the eyes on us from RBI and HDFC, I think it's the same people basically at the higher up levels that would champion the HDFC implementation of CBDC, who are championing sort of this innovation of offline retail payment with us, really. So I think they can connect the dots, and so there would be a chance that they could see the potential of enabling CBDC for RBI, or at least saying, well, hey, we can make this offline as well. And as you know, cash is what central banks are giving out. Cash, that's an offline instrument. And I think it's not far-fetched to think that this should be offline as well. I think they certainly, I think they're planning for that. But I don't know the specs, whether the first implementation of retail CBDC will be an online scheme, or what it will be. I haven't seen it yet. But I was pleased that HDFC is part of the first sort of one of the first banks that will have a look at this. We have very good relations with HDFC, so in some way or another, I think we will be in some dialogue about what does this mean. I don't have the data on that yet, because it was just announced yesterday.
All right, and another question here from the audience: is UPI Lite getting closer to your IP a challenge?
No, I think it's actually quite fun, that the fact that because we sort of patented this a year ago. So you know, I think we were early, and that's good. And most of our IP is actually for this is similar to what I call digital cash online, which came about a year ago in Crunchfish. I think we talked about that in the Q3 report last year. But digital cash offline, which they are migrating to, they're saying, is very much our territory. So and there we are very strong on the IP side. So I think there is I'm quite happy that they are seeing the approach that Crunch has taken to the market, not being a standalone payment service, but rather a way to augment existing services, is what is now we're starting to see signs of that. And you need to do that when you have problems with the underlying payment service. You need to add features to it. UPI, given the volumes, they needed to do something. And I think we saw a way to do that with digital cash online. It solves the same problem, really. Yeah, we have IP from end of last year in this area, which is interesting. And it's I follow it. Right now, they're still online. It's an online edition they do. But it's certainly interesting. It's a fun market to work in India. It's I don't know if you're aware, but in terms of real-time payments, back in 2018 they passed China in terms of volume, and now they are I think they are 2 times, maybe even 3 times more volumes in India when it comes to real-time payments, sort of similar as Swish here in Sweden, as in China. And China is still is the second one. So India is just is the place to be, and we are there with the biggest bank of India, with the RBI overseeing our projects, getting a lot of interest. So Crunchfish is smack in the middle of where we should be right now, and it's highly interesting as we are the one that delivers a really interesting offline type of solution here.
Perfect. And another question related to Oppo. The PM about Oppo says to the end of 2023. How does that become 2 years? And also, why was the money booked Q3? The deal was announced in Q4.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of 2 questions there. Well, the deal is from actually from 15th of December 2021 to 15th of December 2023. So that's the 2 years. So this was just this just came late. There's a couple of reasons. The contract is actually it was already signed as of the 30th of September. It took some time to get those signatures from this Chinese company that we worked with Oppo here, but also we had already delivered. We talked extensively with our sort of the person we use for our financial reporting, who is sort of a revisor in Sweden, auditor, and he said, well, because you have already delivered and you have no more commitments, we can book the deal. And we actually wrote about that. If you look at the financial sector, we anticipated that question would come, so we provided more information than we otherwise would have had, just to clarify some of these things. But that was the reason. We had already delivered anyway. There's nothing new we're going to deliver, and everything was already in their hands in Q3 as well. So it was fine.
Maybe you can mention sort of like looking ahead to the coming quarters. What do you think we can expect, and what will Crunchfish be focusing on?
Right now there is inside the company we are we have contract negotiations going on with HDFC. Development wise, we're doing this quick sprint, quick development on 1.3. In parallel, we're doing also 2.0, which is an important sort of step for us in digital cash. We are responding to a lot of things happening on the gesture side. We are expanding in many dialogues, particularly with those partners, as I talked about on the digital cash side, who are interested to take our product to other markets, and making integration with them, and starting up with first deals here and there. So talking to new payment services in India. We talked about this, an e-wallet provider that's still ongoing. It's just that they need to make their product available in an offline mode. Right now, you need to be online to actually use it, and that's being fixed. We're actually meeting them today, or not me, I'm up in Stockholm, but our head of India, Vijay, he is meeting them to discuss basically their progress and also excite them about 1.3, which will be, I think, come down really well with them as well. But it's just a lot of things going on. We are, very, very busy. We also have, as you know, this warrant program, the T09. I think we are in the period right now when we are setting some sort of average price for that in the last 2 weeks of November, and then they will be converted during in December. I'll be at the Stora Aktiespardagen up in Stockholm. It's on, I think, November 29th, presenting there. It will be streamed, and then I will be with you guys at Västra Hamnen, I think 1st of December. It will also be streamed. Yeah. So I guess if I don't do a good job in Stockholm, I have a chance to have a second chance, and your event will be streamed as well on December 1st. So 2 events there. We'll put up some sort of teaser around so people understand that this is this company is going somewhere, and it's sort of a good bet to take. So we will market it a bit. Yeah, it's just a lot of things happening. It's exciting times.
Yeah, indeed, and I'm pretty sure it's December 2nd, and looking forward to that.
Is it December 2nd with you guys?
Yeah, with the Västra Hamnen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's very close in time. So I know.
Yeah, exactly.
In Stockholm, I think you can attend that in Stockholm. I think that's an open event, but it will certainly be streamed as well. But your event, I think, is no audience. It's only streamed. I think.
Exactly, our event is streamed, and you can sign up on our website.
And then I guess we will wait for you guys, Joen, to put out an analyst report that will come. I don't know when. Sort of. What do you next week somewhere? Do you think?
Yeah, exactly. So we're aiming to release it next week and to comment on these new updates and the progress you made this quarter. So looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. No, I'm always curious when you release myself to see what do you think about it. The verdict will come next week then.
Also, I see that we have another question from the audience here. What's the plan beyond India?
Well, we already are starting. Some of the fintech platforms are already strong in some other Southeast Asian countries. We have talked about what we do together with Viki, who is a channel as well for us, as well as a very important tech partner. But some of these fintech platforms who are fairly, there are hundreds of people in those companies, big companies, and they have their wallet systems are already in the hands of banks and sort of payment services all over Southeast Asia. So they could take us there. So I would say Southeast Asia is naturally very much next for us. But we are getting now from all places, really. I think we're getting from the Caribbeans, we're getting from we have some interest sort of for South America, and it's starting to pop up, and we're sort of following it a little bit opportunistically. Our main focus is still really to land really well in India now, and but we are engaging with partners in other countries as well, certainly in Southeast Asia. So I guess that's sort of the plan.
Perfect. Great to hear. So I think we've answered most of the questions from the audience. Unless you want to add something, Joachim, I'd think we should round up this webinar. So thank you once again for listening in and providing questions. And of course, thanks to you, Joachim, for hosting and for answering the question. Yeah, no, I've totally enjoyed it. It was good, and looking forward to our next session, Joen. It might be, if not sooner, then it will be in another 3 months, I guess, in February, when we have our year-end report. So looking forward to that. Thank you once again, and goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you very much.